I didn't lose my family. I slowly became invisible to them. I was never meant to be a burden. I want to say something before I begin. This is not a story about hate. It's a story about forgetting. Because forgetting someone hurts more than leaving them ever could. I used to believe that if you loved people enough, they would always stay. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to. I was wrong. I spent my life making myself useful. That was my safety. If I cooked well, I mattered. If I listened quietly, I was welcome. If I helped without being asked, I belonged. No one ever told me to do this. But no one ever stopped me either. I learned early that love came with conditions. Not spoken ones. Silent ones. If I was strong, I was admired. If I was tired, I was inconvenient. So I learned to hide tiredness. I became very good at being needed. And very bad at being human. There was a time when my house was loud. Not joyful loud. Busy loud. Phones ringing. Doors opening. Voices overlapping. Everyone needed something. A ride. Advice. Money. Time. I gave all of it. I don't remember when it changed. There was no argument. No fight. Just space. More time between calls. Shorter conversations. Less eye contact. I told myself this was normal. That people grow. That lives get busy. That love doesn't disappear. It just looks different. But love shouldn't feel like you're apologizing for existing. The first time I noticed something was wrong was the day I got sick. Not badly. Just enough to need help. I called. Once. Then again. Then I stopped. Because no one answered. Later, someone texted. Sorry, busy today. Everything okay? I stared at the screen. Everything okay? I typed, yes. Because explaining pain felt like asking too much. That was the moment I realized something frightening. I had trained everyone to expect strength from me. So when I wasn't strong, they didn't know what to do. I started minimizing myself. I'm fine. It's nothing. Don't worry. I said it so often, I almost believed it. Days passed. Then weeks. Then months. I was still alive. Still breathing. Still caring. But no longer included. They stopped asking my opinion. Stopped checking my schedule. Stopped assuming I was part of the plan. I noticed it at dinner once. They spoke over me. Not intentionally. Just naturally. As if my voice had become background noise. I smiled. Of course I smiled. Later that night, I stood in the bathroom and looked at myself. I didn't recognize the woman looking back. Not because she was old. Because she looked surprised. Surprised to still be here. I whispered to the mirror. When did I become optional? The mirror didn't answer. I told myself I was being dramatic. That this is what aging looks like. That independence is respected. That distance is healthy. But deep down, I knew the truth. I wasn't being respected. I was being phased out. I started doing something I never used to do. I waited. For calls. For visits. For proof. Waiting changes you. It makes you quieter. Smaller. more careful with words. I didn't want to complain. Complaints make people uncomfortable. And uncomfortable people leave faster. So I stayed pleasant, agreeable, low maintenance. One evening, I sat alone with the lights off. Not sad. Just still. And a thought came that scared me. If I disappeared tomorrow, how long would it take before someone noticed something was missing? That question stayed with me. Louder than any argument. They often told me I should be grateful. Not unkindly. Almost lovingly. You're lucky, they said. You have people. Some are completely alone. I nodded. Gratitude is easier than explaining loneliness. I stopped saying what I felt. Instead, I started measuring what I was allowed to feel. Sadness felt ungrateful. Confusion felt dramatic. Need felt selfish. So I kept those things to myself. I learned a strange lesson then. You can be surrounded by people and still feel like you don't belong anywhere. I was invited to things. Technically. Last-minute dinners. Quick coffee stops. Come if you want. Not planned around me. Added on. Optional. I told myself this was freedom. That not being depended on meant I could finally rest. But rest feels different when it's not chosen. I noticed how often I was thanked. Not for who I was, for what I had done. You've always been so helpful. You never complain. You make things easier. Easier. For everyone but me. One afternoon, I tried something new. I said no. Just once. Not dramatically. Politely. The reaction surprised me. Not anger. Confusion. As if I had broken an unspoken agreement. Well, okay, they said. We'll figure it out. And suddenly, I was no longer needed. That's when I understood. My value had never been love. It was convenience. After that, they stopped asking. I didn't know whether to feel relieved or erased. I found myself apologizing for boundaries I barely knew how to set. I don't want to be difficult. I know you're busy. It's really not important. I made myself smaller to fit the space I was being given. There was a day I overheard something not meant for me. She's sensitive now. Age does that. We can't tiptoe around her. I stood still. Sensitive. As if feeling was a flaw. I went to my room and sat quietly. I didn't cry. Crying invites attention. And attention now felt dangerous. I thought about all the times I held other people's emotions. Listened without interrupting. Comforted without judging. Stayed when it was uncomfortable. I never called them sensitive. I noticed another change. Decisions happened faster now. Plans made without checking. Trips booked. Holidays arranged. My name mentioned later. Oh, we forgot to ask. Forgot. That word hurts. More than no. I tried to stay useful. Old habits die slowly. I offered help. They declined politely. We've got it. And just like that, I had nothing left to give. Without usefulness, I didn't know who I was. I started writing things down. Not stories. Reminders. My name. The day. What I ate. Small proofs that I was still here. Some nights, I whispered to myself, "You are not asking for too much." But the words felt unsure. I wasn't angry. That's what made it worse. I was understanding. Too understanding. Because understanding kept people comfortable. And my discomfort was easier to ignore. I lay in bed one night and realized something quietly devastating. No one had asked me how I was doing in a very long time. Not really. They assumed. And assumptions are where people disappear. There was a moment I can't forget. Not because it was loud. Because it was quiet. We were sitting together. Not a special day. Not a celebration. Just one of those ordinary moments that reveal everything. I tried to speak. Not about myself. About something small. A memory. A thought. Something harmless. Someone interrupted me. Mid-sentence. Not rudely. Naturally. As if my words were background noise. I stopped talking. No one noticed. They kept going. Laughing. Planning. Deciding. And I sat there, mouth slightly open, holding a sentence that no longer had a place to go. That's when it hit me. My voice wasn't silenced. It was ignored. There's a difference. Silence is forced. Ignoring is chosen. I didn't argue. Didn't repeat myself. I smiled. Of course I smiled. I always smile. Later, I replayed it. Again and again. Not the interruption. My reaction. How quickly I stepped aside. How easily I disappeared. I asked myself, when did I learn that my thoughts weren't worth finishing? It happened more after that. Conversations moved around me. Decisions passed over me. People spoke about me, not to me. She'll be fine. She doesn't mind. She understands. I became a sentence people used to justify themselves. One day, I corrected someone. Just once. They got my story wrong. They laughed it off. Oh, you're remembering it differently. Differently. As if memory expired with age. I went quiet. Correcting people takes energy. And energy felt too precious to waste. I noticed how often people finished my sentences. Usually wrong. I let them. I noticed how rarely people asked follow-up questions. Interest had become surface level. I began editing myself. Shorter answers. Safer topics. No opinions. It was easier to be agreeable than accurate. I thought about my younger self. How carefully I chose words. How deeply I listened. How much I mattered in rooms that felt alive. Now, rooms felt loud and empty at the same time. I started spending more time alone. Not because I wanted to. Because solitude hurt less than being overlooked. I told myself I was independent. That I enjoyed peace. That I didn't need constant connection. But independence feels different when it's forced. There was a night I tried again. I spoke up. I said, I don't feel included anymore. The room went still. Then someone laughed softly. Oh, you're overthinking. Overthinking. The word people use when they don't want to listen. I nodded. Of course I did. After that, I stopped trying. Trying invites disappointment. Silence doesn't argue back. I learned something painful. When people get used to your quietness, your silence starts to feel like permission.
Permission to ignore. Permission to forget. Permission to move on, without looking back. I wondered how many women learn this lesson, without ever being taught. How many shrink slowly, so no one has to adjust. That night, I sat in the dark, and whispered. I still have things to say. The walls listened. People didn't. And that's when I realized. I wasn't losing my voice. I was losing my place. They started explaining things to me, very slowly. As if careful words made hard truths kinder. It's for your own good, they said. That sentence came wrapped in concern. Soft voice. Gentle smile. No space for disagreement. I heard it when they talked about my schedule. When to eat. When to rest. When to go out. They didn't ask what worked for me. They told me what would be easier. Easier for who was never clarified. I noticed how often they spoke on my behalf. She doesn't like crowds. She prefers quiet. She won't mind. I wanted to say. I used to love crowds. I used to love noise. I used to love being part of things. But those memories felt outdated. Like proof that no longer counted. One afternoon, I tried to push back. Just a little. I can decide that, I said. The response was immediate. Concerned faces. Lowered voices. We're just worried about you. You're being stubborn. You don't have to prove anything. Prove. As if my independence was a performance, that's when I understood. Disagreement had become a symptom. I stopped correcting them. Resistance only made things worse. I overheard conversations again. She's not the same. She's declining. It's sad, really. They said it, like a conclusion. Not an observation. I wanted to scream. I'm still here. I still think. I still feel. I still know myself. But screaming would only confirm what they already believed. So I stayed quiet. They started praising me for being cooperative. You're so easy. You make things simple. You don't cause stress. I smiled. That smile felt heavy. I realized something bitter. My compliance was being mistaken for happiness. There was a moment that stays with me. A small one. I reached for something on a high shelf. Someone rushed over. Careful, let me do that. Their hand grabbed mine. Not gently. Not cruelly. Just firmly. Guiding me away. I felt embarrassed. Not because I needed help. Because no one asked if I wanted it. That night, I replayed the moment. How quickly my capability was taken from me. How fast concern turned into control. I wondered. At what point does care stop being care? I started doubting myself. That's how it works. When people treat you like you're fragile long enough, you begin to believe it. I hesitated before standing. Before speaking. Before deciding. I asked permission for things that used to be mine. I felt myself fading. Not physically. Internally. And the most painful part? Everyone thought they were helping. I lay in bed one night and thought. If this is love, why does it feel like I'm slowly disappearing? I pressed my hand to my chest and whispered. Please don't forget me. Even I wasn't sure who I was asking anymore. The day didn't begin with shouting. It began with decisions. Decisions made without my name in the room. I found out accidentally. I always did. They were sitting at the table, papers spread out, voices low. I wasn't supposed to hear. But I did. I always do. We'll move her closer, someone said. It'll be better for everyone. Everyone. Not me. I stood there, hand on the doorway, feeling like I had stepped into someone else's life. Move me where? I asked. The room froze. That kind of freeze, when the truth almost got caught. Oh, nothing to worry about, they said quickly. It's just planning. Planning. For me. Without me. They explained it like a child's story. New place. Safer place. less responsibility. They listed benefits, like bullet points. I asked one question. Do I get a say? The silence answered, before anyone did. They exchanged looks. Not unkind. Just certain. We thought it would be easier, if we handled it. Easier. That word again. I felt something break then. Not loudly. Quietly. Like glass inside the chest. I said, I don't want to move. That sentence felt brave. It also felt useless. The day didn't begin with shouting. It began with decisions. Decisions made without my name in the room. I found out accidentally. I always did. They were sitting at the table, papers spread out, voices low. I wasn't supposed to hear. But I did. I always do. We'll move her closer, someone said. It'll be better for everyone. Story. Everyone. Not me. I stood there, hand on the doorway, feeling like I had stepped into someone else's life. Move me where? I asked. The room froze. That kind of freeze, when the truth almost got caught. Oh, nothing to worry about, they said quickly. It's just planning. Planning. For me. Without me. They explained it like a child's story. New place. Safer place. Less responsibility. They listed benefits, like bullet points. I asked one question. Do I get a say? The silence answered, before anyone did. They exchanged looks. Not unkind. Just certain. We thought it would be easier, if we handled it. Easier. That word again. I felt something break then. Not loudly. Quietly. Like glass inside the chest. I said, I don't want to move. That sentence felt brave. It also felt useless. They told me reasons. Schedules. Logistics. Concerns. Not one of them was about me. Someone said, you're being emotional. Another said, this isn't about feelings. But it was. It always was. I realized something terrifying. My resistance was now a problem to solve. They spoke kindly. That made it worse. Kind voices leave no room to argue. Later that night, someone came into my room. Sat beside me. Held my hand. You know we love you, they said. We're just trying to do what's best. I looked at their face. I believed them. That was the cruel part. Then why does it feel like I'm being erased? I asked. They didn't answer. They squeezed my hand. As if pressure could replace words. I started packing the next day. No one asked me to. I just knew. Every object felt heavy. Photos, letters, small things with memory inside. I held a picture from years ago. Me laughing. Really laughing. I didn't recognize her. That night, I cried quietly. Not dramatic. Just exhausted tears. The kind that leak when you finally understand you've lost something you can't name. I whispered to the room. When did I become an inconvenience? The room didn't answer. Rooms never do. They came to check on me. I wiped my face. Smiled. I was good at that. I'm okay, I said. That sentence became my armor. Inside, I felt small. Smaller than I had ever felt. Not because of age. Because of invisibility. I wasn't angry. That surprised me. I was grieving. For myself. I realized. You don't have to die to be mourned. You just have to stop being seen. And that night, lying in bed, I thought. If no one asks me anymore, how long before I stop answering? The move happened on a Tuesday. Not because Tuesdays meant anything to me, but because it fit their schedule. They packed my life into labeled boxes. Clothes, books, miscellaneous. I stared at that last one. Miscellaneous. That's what I had become. The car ride was quiet. Too quiet. I watched familiar streets disappear, each turn taking me farther from the only place where my memories still fit the walls. No one asked me what I was feeling. They told me what I should feel. You'll like it there. It's peaceful. You won't have to worry anymore. I wanted to say. Worry was the only thing that still made me feel needed. But I stayed silent. Silence had become my second language. The building was clean. Bright. Smelled like disinfectant and someone else's sadness. This is it, they said, smiling. This will be your room. Your room. They said it like a gift. The room was small. A bed, a dresser, a chair by the window. No photos on the wall, no history in the corners. Just space. Empty space. I walked inside slowly, as if my body might reject it. As if the room might say, "You don't belong here." Someone followed me in. "Let us know if you need anything," they said politely. Politely. Not warmly. I sat on the bed. It wasn't uncomfortable. That somehow made it worse. They left. The door clicked shut. That sound. It stayed with me. I sat there for a long time. Hands folded, back straight. Waiting. For what? I didn't know. Eventually, a woman came in. She didn't say my name. She checked a clipboard. "You'll have dinner at 6, she said. "Lights out at 10. I opened my mouth to say something. Anything. She was already gone. That's when it hit me. Here. I wasn't a mother, a helper, a problem solver. I was a schedule. At dinner, I sat with strangers. We smiled politely. No one asked what I used to be. A man beside me kept asking for his wife. "She's coming," someone told him gently. She wasn't. I felt my throat tighten. That could be me someday. Asking for people who had already decided not to come. Later, I tried to hang a photo on the wall. The nail bent. I laughed softly. Even the walls resisted me. That night, I lay in bed listening. Coughs. Footsteps. A distant cry someone tried to quiet.
I turned my face to the wall. Not because I was afraid. Because I didn't want the room to see me cry. I thought about all the years I had taken care of others. Late nights. Missed rest. Unpaid love. And here I was. Being managed. I whispered. I'm still here. Not for anyone else. For myself. The words felt weak. But they were all I had. The next morning, someone woke me early. Time for breakfast, they said. No knock. Just instruction. I wanted to say. I wake up slowly. I like my tea strong. I need a moment. But routines don't listen. I followed the line of bodies. Down the hallway. No one looked at anyone. We walked like quiet questions. No one planned to answer. That's when I understood. This place wasn't cruel. It was efficient. And efficiency has no room for stories. I sat down. A tray appeared. Food without flavor. Like my days had become. Across from me, a woman stared at her hands. I asked softly, "How long have you been here?" She looked up. Surprised. Then smiled. No one had asked her that in a long time. Long enough, she said. That answer scared me. Because it didn't have an end. Later, alone again, I stood by the window. Cars passed. Lives continued. And for the first time, I wondered, if I disappeared from here, how long would it take for anyone to notice? That thought stayed with me. Heavy. Unanswered. I sat on the chair and cried quietly. Not loudly. I didn't want to be labeled difficult. I cried for the woman I used to be. The one whose presence mattered. I cried for the future that now felt smaller than the room I was given. And I promised myself, if no one remembers my name, I will. Even if it's the last thing I do.